This week we're going to be using Photoshop to make advertising ads. These are the 4 ads that we'll be creating. Be aware that you will have to open and close the same files a few different times, so do pay attention to what the book tells you to name them, just so that you don't get confused. So this is the folder called Outdoors, and the first one we need to work on is tanks.jpg, so just say File Open, and go and find tanks JPEG and open that up. Remember that you can scroll in and out, Alt and scroll your mouse so that you can zoom in and out to see what you're doing. Then if you grab the space bar and hold it down, you get the little hand tools. You can zoom in on things. For instance, this trash we're going to be getting rid of. I am in the workspace photography. So if you want to go to Windows, workspace photography, so that our Photoshop will look the same. So we're going to use this to make an ad, but it has a lot of trash and that kind of thing in it. If you zoom in, you can see there's all kind of distractions that are going to take away from what we're doing. So to fix this, we're going to use the patch tool, which if you are in the photography workspace should be right here. Remember that you can hover over things and it will tell you what these tools are. And if you can't find a tool, you can go down to the 3 little dots, right click, and see all of the tools that are available. So this is the patch tool. With the patch tool, you're just going to circle around what you want to get rid of, and you don't have to be perfect with this, but don't get right up on it. What I would do is drag it to an area that's similar. So I'm going to drag it to the left over here where it's the same type of terrain, and then let go. Control D to get rid of the marching ants. That looks a lot better. So let me show you again on another piece. We're just going to, with the patch tool, draw around the area. Then click your mouse, hold it, and drag it to a clean area, and then let go. And it's going to take that clean area and add it back to here and content aware fill the whole thing. Now that kind of looks weird. I'm going to just, there we go, I like that better. Okay, so you're going to use the patch tool to clean up anything that would be distracting. All of this little trash and things that are on the ground, clean that up. Okay, that looks pretty good. Once you've got it clean, I did get rid of some of the sticks and things that were here just because I thought they were a little bit distracting. Once you have it clean, you need to save it as tanks-clean PSD. Now for the next one, we're going to open up the one called Studio JPEG. So for this, we're going to use Replace Color to change the color of the way all of this looks. The top part, we don't want it to be brown. So the first thing the book wants you to do is make a copy of your background layer. So put your mouse over the background layer in the Layers menu, right click and just say Duplicate Layer, and you can call it Background Copy, that's fine. On this background copy, you're going to go up to Image, Adjustments, Replace Color. And this dialog is going to come up and it's going to ask you what color do I want to replace. So the eyedropper would tell it, say I wanted to replace this color. About right there is pretty good. And you can see it's done a pretty good job. It's grabbed some of this other stuff down here, but it's gotten most of it. So you can adjust the fuzziness to kind of change this. I have got my fuzziness at about, I would say about 78 to 80 is going to be pretty good. And you can see it has selected some of the other stuff, but we're going to take care of that in just a minute. We now need to change these down here to make this red. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the book used to make their red. So the book has -42 for hue, +66 for saturation, and -61 for lightness. When you get that right, you can go ahead and hit OK. -42, +66, and -61. OK. Now, if you turn the eyeballs on and off, you can see that it's put the red in areas that we don't want it to be red because it was hard to make the selection. Everything is the same exact color. So we're going to create a mask. So we just need to select this part right here. Now you could use any of the selection tools that we've learned in the past to do this. For instance, the quick selection tool, but it kind of grabs other things. So probably the easiest one to do this would be the Polygon Lasso tool, which just draws straight lines. So you can just click, just kind of grab this red, the stuff that should be red, I'm sorry. So once you have that selected, we need to create a mask. So make sure you are on the background copy layer, and you're going to click this button right here to create a mask. And what it did was white to reveal, black to conceal. Notice that it got rid of all of the areas where red was that was not inside of our selection. If you turn this on and off, you can see it's just put it right there where we wanted it to. So we're almost done. All we need to do is zoom in, once again, alt scroll your mouse, and fix any of these little problems that you have. So you could use the patch tool that we just did. Make sure that you are on the actual layer, not on the mask layer, but on the actual layer. So you could use the patch tool. You could use the spot healing tool, whichever one you like best. Just go through and fix all of these little problems. Once again, make sure you are on the actual layer, not on the mask. Once you have that clean, save it as studio-clean. Next, we're going to open balloon.jpg. And once again, I'm in the photography workspace. We're going to go right here to adjustments. And these are all of the adjustment layers that we can add. We are going to click on this one right here, which is the Hue Saturation Adjustment. Now this will open up a properties panel when you click on it. If it doesn't, this is the properties panel right here. And you can always find it by going to Windows Property. We are going to go up here where it says Master, and we're going to choose just the yellows. So what we're telling Photoshop is we want you to change the yellows. We could change the hue of the yellow to a different hue or the amount of saturation. But what the book wants us to do is bring the lightness all the way up, so it basically changes that to white. The problem here is we don't want that to happen on the yellow of the basket. So we need to use the mask. Remember, we had a mask on the last one, white to reveal, black to conceal. Everything that is white is going to have this adjustment layer. So we need to turn this part right here black. Make sure you are on the actual mask. You will see that white and black are our two choices, so we need black. And we're just going to go grab a brush tool. Right here we can choose how big or small the brush is. The book suggests about 70 points. And go ahead and have complete 100% hardness. So now we're just going to take that brush and we're going to say, get rid of that adjustment layer right here on the basket. And you can see it's added a little black piece right there saying we don't want you to mask out the yellow in the basket. So that is the way the book wants this balloon to look. Once you've done that, you're going to save this as balloon clean. We now need to open up office.jpg, and we're going to be doing an adjustment of shadows and highlights. This time go to Image, Adjustments, Shadows and Highlights. And we need to adjust this shadow from 35 down to 15. And you can see how it has changed the way that this photo looks. There's a little preview right here. If that's not on, you're not. That's why you're not seeing it. So just make sure preview is on and you can see the change. And that just brightens this up a little bit. When you're done with that, save that as Office-Clean. Now we need to go back and open up the Studio-Clean PSD that you saved. I already have mine open. So open up the Studio Clean PSD. We're going to say File, Place Embedded, and go find the banner.tiff that the book has given us in our Outdoors folder, and click Place. So this is a little too large, so up at the top, make sure that this button right here is clicked so that the width and the height will stay the same. And we need to make this 73%. Just hit Enter. The next thing you need to do is with the Move tool, pick it up and make the top left corner match the top left corner of the red that we created in the last part. Now if we wanted to make this fit in this area, if we started dragging and twisting it and trying to rotate it, we could, but it's not going to fit correctly. We need to make this shift within perspective. So we need to adjust this using the same perspective that we already have. So if I just grabbed this corner and just started dragging, it's going to move it, but it's not going to change the perspective of it. The way that you can change it while doing perspective is to hit Control or Command, hold that down, and then grab this dot right here and move it down. Do you see that it's shifting the way that this looks in perspective? So get that down to about right there. Now let go of Command or Control. Now we need to grab this upper left-hand corner. So Control, clip that left-hand corner and pull it down. Notice that it's changing the perspective at the same time as it's changing the box. The last thing we need to fix is this lower one. Control. I think I need to adjust my top one just a little bit until it's perfect. That looks pretty good. When you think you have it the way you want it, just hit Enter or hit this little check mark. Now we need to add a drop shadow. We're going to go to Layer, Layer Style, Drop Shadow. We're going to choose Multiply from this drop down. Make sure this is black. We want the opacity to be 75%, the angle to be 125, distance 10, spread is at 0, and size is 5. And hit OK. And to see your drop shadow, you can see it's added it to our banner. You can just turn that on and off to see that it's added a little drop shadow at the bottom. When you're done with that, you can save it as Studio-Add. Now the book wants you to save it as a PSD, but this is actually the one that you are going to turn into me. So please save it as your last name, Studio-Add, and make it a JPEG. Now, if you do not see JPEG as one of the choices, you need to say Save as a Copy, which is right here. Now you will have JPEG as a choice. So please save this as your last name, studioadd.jpg. Hit OK.